What's good, everybody? My name is Sway, and we're back talking fantasy football week 14. The season's officially over, the playoffs are about to start, and I'm going to be watching from the couch. That's some BS, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, I'm not in the playoffs this year. It's the first time in, honestly, I can't even remember, and it sucks. But anyway, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on who I think could help you going into the playoffs. Starting off with the Thursday night game, Packers and Lions. This was a great game. The Packers almost had him, but Dan Campbell, guy's got big balls. Always goes for it on fourth down, no fear. He didn't get one of them, I think, in the third quarter. That didn't stop him from doing what he did in the fourth quarter. They had a chance to kick the field goal, go up 3 with somewhere between about 30, 40 seconds left on the clock. It was 4th and 1, and he said, the hell with that. He decided to go for it. They got it. They ran the clock down to 3 seconds more or less, kicked the game-winning field goal to win it. Crazy. But anyways, we know who the must-starts are for the Packers. Josh Jacobs had a massive game, 66 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. You have to start him every week, no matter who the matchup is. And Christian Watson has taken over that number 1 spot at the receiver position. I know Romeo Doubs was out this week, but I would start Watson every week moving forward. And keep an eye on Jordan Love. If you have a better quarterback, I would consider starting him because Jordan Love has kind of fell off based off of his matchups. The Lions had a good defense and he didn't do very well. He only had 206 yards passing and 1 touchdown. So he's kind of iffy. Start him based off his matchups. And you got to start Tucker Kraft every week. He only had 3 catches for 41 yards this week, but he did have that touchdown. So that's a pretty good day for the tight end position. And he's also a threat in the red zone, so you got to start him every week. As far as the Lions go, this whole team is a must start. You got to start Jared Goff with confidence. He's in the MVP conversation for a reason, as well as we already know about their dual threat running back, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and both of their receivers, Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We already know about them. And Sam Laporta, you got to start him too. Moving on to the Falcons and Vikings, we know Bijan Robinson is a must start every week, as well as Darnell Mooney and Drake London. But keep an eye on Ray McCloud. He's their 3rd receiver, and he had 8 catches for 98 yards this week. And also, I would strongly consider benching Kyle Pitts. He hasn't had a good game since week 8. I don't know what the hell's going on in their offense as far as he goes. They haven't been getting him involved anymore like they did at the beginning of the season. But you need to strongly consider benching him for guys like maybe Hunter Henry, definitely Jonnu Smith, or just look on the waiver wire and see if there's a better option with somebody who might be getting more targets per game, because Kyle Pitts just ain't it right now. As far as the Vikings go, Sam Darnold had a massive game, 347 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. You need to strongly consider starting him if you don't have a better option at the quarterback position, as well as Aaron Jones. He had 13 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown, and we already know about the receivers. You got to start Jordan Addison, who just had a massive game with 3 touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson as well. And also, TJ Hawkinson, in my opinion, needs to get a start. Moving on to the Giants and Saints, I got to be honest with you. I'm staying away from both of these teams if you can. The only one I would consider starting for the Saints is Alvin Kamara. And I only say that because Derek Carr's out for the season. And I know the past couple of weeks I've been hyping up Valdes-Scantling. But with their backup quarterback, I don't trust him. And I don't trust anything they do on offense. And as far as the Giants go, they just can't do anything on offense either, no matter who their quarterback is. Daniel Jones, who's gone. Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock. And Drew Lock just went out again, so now they got to bring back Tommy DeVito. So I'm staying away from everybody on that team. If you have to, Malik Nabers is the only one I would consider. And moving on to 2 other teams who don't have very good offenses, the Titans and the Jaguars. As far as the Jaguars go, I'm only starting Brian Thomas Jr. I don't trust anybody else. Even with Mac Jones, he still had 8 catches for 86 yards. And he has the potential to get those touchdowns. So I'm starting him with confidence every week. And as far as the Titans go, only Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley. Moving on to the Bucs and Raiders. I know the Raiders are going to be without Aiden O'Connell for the rest of the year, and they're already without Minshew. So they got to start Desmond Ridder moving forward. But hear me out. I still think they have guys on their team that are worth starting. We already know about Brock Bowers. I would start Jakobi Meyers with confidence. He had 7 catches for 67 yards, and they're not throwing to any other receiver. And if you need a Hail Mary or a deep sleeper, I would start Michael Mayer moving forward because this offense is not very good. It seems like they're going to be playing catch up all game, every game. And Michael Mayer got heavily involved. He did better than Brock Bowers this week. He had 7 catches for 68 yards, and Bowers went 3 for 49. But don't be confused. You still need to start Brock Bowers. But I'm just saying, if you need like a miracle, get Michael Mayer and start him. And one more side note, if you need a miracle at the running back position, this kid, Sincere McCormick, he's taken over the number 1 spot at the running back position for the Raiders these past couple of weeks. He had 15 carries for 78 yards, and he had 2 catches for 11 yards. They don't have anybody else left at the running back spot, and Pierce already said he's getting the start. So, like I said, if you need a sleeper or a miracle at the running back spot or even your flex position, pick this kid up and start him. Moving on to the Bucs, I'm not too sure how bad Bucky Irving is hurt. He might sit out this week, but if he does, I'm starting Rachaad White with confidence. And also, we already know about the receiver, Mike Evans. He's a must start every week. And I'm also starting Cade Otton as well. Moving on to the Browns and Steelers. Jameis Winston has been playing pretty good for the Browns. He is still making mistakes, throwing interceptions. But I'm starting Jerry Jeudy with confidence going forward, as well as David Njoku. But if you don't have another option besides Nick Chubb, he's not doing too well. Start him with caution. And as far as the Steelers go, I know George Pickens is going to be out again this week. I'm not sure for how long. He might be out until the playoffs, but I'm starting Pat Freiermuth with confidence, as well as Najee Harris. Moving on to the Panthers and Eagles, you got to start Chuba and Thielen every week. Chuba had a big game against the Eagles, 92 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, and he had 4 catches for 15 yards. So he does get involved in the passing game a little bit, which is great for if you have them at your running back position. But Adam Thielen, Bryce Young is always looking for this guy every game. He had 9 catches for 102 yards, and he has the potential to do this every game. As far as the Eagles go, Jalen Hurts and the passing game has taken a dip these past few weeks. He only had 108 yards passing. He did have 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, and he ran the ball 8 times for 59 yards. So I still think you have to start him every week. And we already know you got to start the receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, as well as Saquon Barkley. But my sleeper on this team is Grant Calcaterra. If you don't know him, he's the backup tight end to Dallas Goedert. He only had 3 catches for 16 yards, but he did have a touchdown, and he has the potential to have pretty big games, decent games. So I would start him with confidence. Moving on to the Jets and Dolphins. We already know about the Jets. They're not a very good team. They have good players, but they just can't put it together. They haven't been able to do it all season. But as far as starters go, we know about Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. But if Breece Hall is going to be out again, both of their backups, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, they both have the potential to have pretty good games. And again, if you need somebody at your flex spot or your second RB spot, you're hurting, I would start them. And we know about the Dolphins already. You got to start Tua, you got to start A-Chain, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Jonnu Smith. Moving on to the Seahawks and Cardinals, Zach Charbonnet had a massive game filling in for Kenneth Walker. If he's going to be out again, you obviously got to start him again. He had 22 carries for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 7 catches for 59 yards. So just a massive day for him. And as far as their receivers go, we know you got to start Metcalf and JSN. As far as the Cardinals go, there's 3 must starts on this team: Kyler Murray, James Conner, and Trey McBride. And as far as the receivers go, Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, those guys are kind of like flip a coin, or, you know, if you're desperate or if you need a sleeper on your team, then go ahead and start those guys. Moving on to the Bears and Niners. The Bears are just a frustrating team. They've been down, they've been up, and now they've been down the last few weeks. And I'm not too sure if anybody on their team is worth starting anymore, but if you had to, I guess I'd go with Swift and DJ Moore. As far as the Niners go, Brock Purdy got back on track this week. He had a good game, 325 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Isaac Guerrero filled in nicely for McCaffrey and Jordan Mason. He had 15 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he also caught the ball twice for 50 yards. So they are playing tonight, Thursday night, against the Rams. I don't know if he's going to play because I believe he has a ankle sprain. But if he does play, you got to start him. And if he doesn't, I hope you picked up, I believe his name's Patrick Taylor. I know his last name's Taylor, but if you picked him up, start him. And as far as the receivers go, I'm starting George Kittle and Jawan Jennings with confidence, and I'm benching Debo because he's been more down than up this year. Moving on to the Bills and Rams, brutal loss for my team this past Sunday. We just couldn't get it done. Our defense didn't show up. We had a blocked punt that they returned for a touchdown, but it is what it is. As far as fantasy goes, we know you got to start Josh Allen and James Cook, but Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid are coming back this week. I'm starting Khalil Shakir with confidence. Like I said last week, keep Coleman on your bench. See what he does this week. He might be worth a start going into the second round or even the championship game if you make it that far. But I'm also starting Kincaid with confidence. As far as the Rams go, we know you're starting their trio, Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp. But it's all about matchups once you get into the playoffs. If you got to start Matt Stafford, I would do it with confidence. Moving on to the Chargers and Chiefs. I know Justin Herbert got hurt. They said he had an ankle sprain, but I'm not too sure if he's going to play this week. But if he does, the only one I'm starting is Ladd McConkey as far as the receivers go. And I'm not too sure if J.K. Dobbins is coming back this week, but if he does, I'm starting him as well. As far as the Chiefs go, Pat Mahomes had an average game, 210 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And if you have a better option at the QB spot, don't be afraid to bench Mahomes this week. And with Isaiah Pacheco coming back, it looks like he took back his starting job. Kareem Hunt, I would keep him on the bench. Don't get rid of him just in case. But I would start Pacheco moving forward. And we already know to start Kelsey, Hopkins, and I would start Xavier Worthy as well. Moving on to the Monday night game, Bengals and Cowboys. We already know about the Bengals. They're all must starts. Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. I know T. Higgins had an off week, but I'm still starting him with confidence. And we know the Cowboys offense isn't very good with Cooper Rush. I mean, it wasn't very good with Dak Prescott in there as well early in the season. So the only two guys I'm starting with confidence on this team is Rico Dowdle and CeeDee Lamb. And with that being said, we already know I'm out of the playoffs. However, my lady did end up getting that 3rd seed, so I hope she takes it all. I'll keep you guys posted on how she does. Good luck to you guys this week, and go Bills.